Borley Rectory. The name itself sends shivers down your spine. It conjures images of darkened windows and an eerie silence that seems to whisper secrets of the past. It's a name synonymous with ghostly tales and unexplained events. Stories that have been passed down through generations, each one more chilling than the last. Nestled in the quaint village of Borley, England, the rectory stood for years as a beacon of fear. Its imposing structure loomed over the village, a constant reminder of the unknown. It was a place where shadows moved, and whispers echoed through the halls. The very air seemed thick with the presence of something unseen, something that watched and waited. The stories began long before anyone dared to write them down. Tales of ghostly apparitions, mysterious footsteps, and objects moving on their own. Locals whispered of strange occurrences within the rectory walls. They spoke in hushed tones, afraid that speaking too loudly might summon the spirits they feared. They spoke of a haunting presence, something unseen that lurked in the corners of the old house. A presence that seemed to watch their every move, filling them with an unshakable sense of dread. The rectory cast a long shadow over the village, a shadow of fear and uncertainty. It was a place where the line between the living and the dead seemed to blur. Some dismissed the stories as mere superstition. They laughed at the idea of ghosts and spirits, confident that there was a logical explanation for everything. But others, those who had lived in the shadow of the rectory, knew the truth. They had seen things, heard things that defied explanation. Their fear was real, and it was rooted in experience. They knew that some houses held more than just memories. They held secrets, and some secrets were best left undisturbed. The rectory was one such place, a house where the past refused to stay buried, and the present was haunted by the echoes of what once was. As we delve deeper into the history of Borley Rectory, we will uncover the stories that have made it one of the most haunted places in England. Stories that will make you question what you believe about the world beyond our own. So, prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown, a journey that will take us through the darkened halls of Borley Rectory, where every shadow hides a secret and every whisper tells a tale of the supernatural. This is Borley Rectory, a place where the past and present collide and where the line between reality and the supernatural is forever blurred. The history of Borley Rectory is intertwined with the lives of its residents, each family adding their own chapter to the haunting narrative. This eerie mansion, often referred to as the most haunted house in England, has a long and storied past filled with inexplicable events and ghostly apparitions. One of the earliest families to experience the strange occurrences were the Bulls. Reverend Henry Bull, a man of strong faith and conviction, moved into the rectory with his family in 1862. Reverend Henry Bull and his family moved into the rectory in 1862, unaware of the unsettling events that awaited them. The rectory, with its imposing structure and isolated location, seemed like the perfect home for the Bull family. It wasn't long before the family reported strange noises. At first they dismissed these sounds as the creaks and groans of an old house settling, but soon the noises became too frequent and too distinct to ignore. Footsteps echoed in the empty hallways, often in the dead of night when the house was still and silent. These footsteps seemed to follow the family members, as if an unseen presence was always watching them. Doors creaked open and shut on their own, sometimes with a force that suggested an invisible hand was at work. The family would often find doors ajar that they were certain had been closed. These unexplained happenings sent chills down their spines. The children were particularly affected, often waking up in the middle of the night, terrified by the sounds and sights they couldn't explain. The family, though devoutly religious, couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. They prayed for protection and sought solace in their faith, but the sense of an otherworldly presence persisted. As the years passed, the stories grew more frequent, more intense. The Bulls began to hear whispers in the night, soft voices that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Servants whispered of seeing a ghostly nun wandering the grounds. This spectral figure, dressed in a habit, was often seen gliding silently through the garden, her face hidden in shadow. Others claimed to have heard the phantom sound of horse-drawn carriages late at night. The clatter of hooves and the creak of wooden wheels would echo through the darkness, only to vanish as suddenly as they had appeared. The stories, passed down through generations, painted a chilling picture of a house steeped in the supernatural. Each tale added a new layer to the legend, making Borley Rectory a focal point for those fascinated by the paranormal. The Bull family, despite their initial apprehension, lived in the rectory for many years. They grew accustomed to the strange occurrences. Even as they continued to be unnerved by them, they learned to coexist with the unexplained, accepting it as part of their daily lives. The children grew up with the stories of ghosts and apparitions, and the family adapted to the eerie atmosphere of their home. However, their experiences would forever be etched in the history of Borley Rectory, adding fuel to the growing legend of England's most haunted house. The tales of the Bull family's encounters with the supernatural would be told and retold, becoming an integral part of the rectory's haunted legacy.